4 popular chest exercises you should replace in your workout. Without a doubt, chest training is one of the workouts that men generally enjoy doing the most. Not only the training itself, but when this muscle is well developed, we feel a very satisfying sensation. However, we also cannot lie. Some exercises are simply more effective than others. There's no point in thinking you'll have a respectable chest by endlessly doing exercises that you don't even understand which portion of the chest or type of fiber you're recruiting just because the gym instructor who wanted to get rid of you quickly to talk to the new hottie assigned them to you. That's why today, you'll see 4 chest exercises that if you do, you should replace with the 4 we're going to present. Relax, you'll understand why, but most come down to less effectiveness in activating chest muscle fibers or, worse, greater risk of injury, which simply destroys your results. Before we begin, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. Exercise number 1. Dumbbell flies. Dumbbell flies are extremely popular in gyms worldwide, but unfortunately, this exercise puts the shoulder in an extremely vulnerable position when the arms are open. The head of the humerus is pulled out of the shoulder socket, creating a risk of rotator cuff injury. Think of your shoulder as a golf ball on a tee. When you open your arms with weight during the fly, it's like trying to push that ball off the support. In a healthy young joint, the ligaments and rotator cuff muscles can compensate for this force. But over time, this repetitive stress takes its toll. Additionally, the exercise requires control in 3 dimensions, which becomes more difficult with the reduction in neuromuscular coordination that happens with age. It's no coincidence that we see so many experienced practitioners with chronic shoulder pain, many of whom have done dumbbell flies for years on end. The biceps tendons and elbow ligaments are also under excessive tension, especially with heavy weights. The movement puts an unnatural twist on these structures, creating a perfect scenario for tendinitis and other overuse injuries. An additional problem is that when feeling discomfort, many practitioners unconsciously modify the range of motion or the trajectory of the dumbbells, which drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise for chest development. You end up using less weight, activating fewer muscle fibers, and still putting your joints at risk. Electromyographic studies demonstrate that chest activation during dumbbell flies is not significantly superior to safer alternatives, especially when we consider the risk-benefit ratio. Let's explore the best exercise to replace dumbbell flies. Substitute exercise. Machine flies. Machine flies are a great solution to the problems of dumbbell flies. The fundamental difference is in the guided trajectory. While dumbbells require you to control the weight in all directions simultaneously, which becomes dangerous in the maximum stretch position, the machine offers a predefined path that drastically reduces stress on the shoulder joint. Think of it this way. It's like the difference between walking on a narrow, dangerous trail versus walking on a well-paved road with guardrails. Modern machines are designed following the natural biomechanics of the glenohumeral joint, allowing the shoulder to move, respecting its natural curvature. A particular advantage is the adjustable range of motion. If you feel discomfort at the end of the movement, you can simply reduce the range and work within a safe zone. As your mobility improves, you can gradually expand this range. This is especially valuable after age 40, when we need to respect individual limitations more. We should also mention the optimized resistance curve. Many machines offer greater resistance precisely in the middle of the movement, when the chest is in its position of greatest strength, creating an efficient stimulus for hypertrophy without compromising safety. Additionally, the machine fly allows for a much more efficient mind-muscle connection. Since you don't need to worry about balancing and stabilizing the dumbbells, you can focus all your attention on chest contraction. This enhanced neurological connection results in superior muscle fiber recruitment, which is the true trigger for muscle growth. A common mistake in performing machine flies is using excessively heavy weights. Remember that the joint safety provided by the machine doesn't mean you should overload it. The ideal stimulus for hypertrophy continues to be a combination of adequate weight, correct execution, and appropriate time under tension. To maximize results, try incorporating an isometric contraction of 1 to 2 seconds at the point of greatest chest contraction. This simple technique can significantly increase growth stimulus without adding risk to your joints. Exercise number 2. Barbell bench press. The barbell bench press is probably the most iconic exercise in bodybuilding. How much do you bench is practically a business card in the fitness world. However, behind this popularity lie significant risks for your joints in the long term. The main problem is the fixed hand position on the bar, which forces an internal rotation of the shoulders that may not be anatomical for each person. Since we all have different bone structures, the bar imposes a rigid trajectory that may conflict with the body's natural biomechanics. Imagine forcing all types of feet to use exactly the same shoe model. Some would adapt well, others would suffer discomfort, and some would develop serious problems over time. The same happens with the barbell bench press. For some people, the standard position works perfectly, but for many others it represents constant stress on the joints. This can aggravate muscle imbalances and joint wear that accumulate with age. The shoulder is a complex joint designed for mobility, not stability. When repeatedly forced into a non-ideal movement pattern, it eventually protests. We can also mention the risk to the lumbar spine when people excessively arch their backs to lift more weight. This technique, common among weightlifters, can be devastating for spine health over time, creating compression in the intervertebral discs and stress on the ligaments. Another frequently ignored problem is that the barbell bench press limits the range of motion for many practitioners. Those with long arms or a prominent chest often can't lower the bar enough to get a complete stretch of the pectoral, compromising muscle development. The ego lifting culture associated with the barbell bench press also leads many to prioritize the weight lifted over correct technique, which is a recipe for long-term injuries. Let's get to know a much smarter alternative: substitute exercise, dumbbell bench press. This exercise solves the main problem of the barbell bench press: trajectory rigidity. Dumbbells completely eliminate the limitation of the fixed position imposed by the bar. With dumbbells, your arms can move according to your body's natural structure. This means you can find exactly the angle that best adapts to your individual anatomy. It's like having a custom-made suit versus wearing a standard-size suit that may not fit perfectly. The natural rotation of the wrists is another crucial benefit. During the movement, your wrists can rotate slightly, allowing the elbows to follow a more natural and less stressful trajectory. This small detail, which may seem insignificant, makes a huge difference for joint health in the long term. Additionally, the dumbbell bench press requires additional stabilization work. Your body needs to control each dumbbell independently, more intensely recruiting the stabilizing muscles of the shoulder and trunk. This results in more balanced and healthy joints, something fundamental after age 40. A frequently ignored advantage is the possibility of greater range of motion. With dumbbells, you can lower the weights more deeply, obtaining a complete stretch of the pectoral that is crucial for stimulating muscle growth. This additional amplitude is especially beneficial for the lower portion of the chest, often underdeveloped in practitioners who use only the bar. The dumbbell bench press also allows for interesting variations, such as the version with palms facing each other, which further reduces stress on the shoulder while maintaining efficient chest activation. For those who already have some discomfort in their shoulders, this simple modification can be transformative. A common mistake is using dumbbells that are too heavy, compromising stability and safety. Start with moderate weights, master the technique, and progress gradually. Remember that muscle development comes from quality of execution, not just the weight lifted. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise number 3, pec deck. The pec deck is an extremely popular machine found in practically all gyms. At first glance, it seems like a safe and efficient option for working the chest. However, a closer look reveals serious biomechanical problems. The machine places the shoulders in a position of horizontal abduction with external rotation, which intensely stresses the shoulder joint complex. The text uses an interesting analogy. It's like forcing a ball against the edge of a shallow shell. This extreme positioning can compress sensitive structures, such as the rotator cuff tendons, especially at the end point of the movement. Over time, this repetitive compression can lead to chronic inflammation and even partial tendon ruptures. The fixed trajectory of the machine prevents the body from making the micro-adjustments necessary to accommodate individual anatomical differences. While some people can use the pec deck without immediate problems, for many others, the machine forces an unnatural trajectory that puts excessive pressure on vulnerable structures. A particularly concerning problem is the false sense of security that the machine provides, leading people to use excessive loads. It's a machine, so it must be safe, many practitioners think, ignoring the warning signals that the body sends. For those who already have natural cartilage wear, something common after 35 to 40 years, this can accelerate degenerative processes and transform a slight discomfort into a chronic injury that compromises not only workouts but quality of life as a whole. Another problem is the limitation in range of motion. The traditional pec deck often doesn't allow a complete stretch of the chest, limiting the growth stimulus in the deeper portions of the muscle. Let's learn about a much superior alternative for your chest and joint health. Substitute exercise, mid-pulley cable crossover. The mid-pulley cable crossover represents a significant evolution compared to the traditional pec deck, offering all the benefits without the associated risks. The fundamental difference is in the freedom of movement that the pulleys provide. While the pec deck forces a fixed trajectory that may be incompatible with your individual bone structure, the crossover allows you to find exactly the path that your body needs to follow. This freedom is crucial to respect the anatomical differences between individuals and prevent long-term injuries. Constant tension is one of the biggest differentials of this exercise. Unlike the pec deck, where tension varies drastically throughout the movement, the pulley system maintains consistent resistance throughout the entire range. This means your chest works continuously, without the dead spots that reduce the effectiveness of the stimulus. The crossover also offers a superior range of motion. You can start with your arms wide open, providing a complete stretch of the chest, and finish with your arms crossed in front of your body, maximizing muscle contraction. This combination of maximum stretch and contraction is the ideal scenario for stimulating muscle growth. The variety of possible angles is another significant advantage. By slightly adjusting your position in relation to the pulleys, you can emphasize different portions of the chest. This allows for more balanced and complete development, something difficult to achieve with fixed trajectory machines. To maximize results, focus on the quality of contraction more than the weight used. A common mistake is using excessive loads that compromise technique and reduce chest activation. Start with moderate weights that allow you to execute the movement with total control. Exercise number 4. Dips. Dips, popularly known simply as parallel bars, are frequently celebrated as one of the best exercises for the chest. However, behind this reputation lies a potentially problematic exercise for many practitioners. During the movement, the shoulders are forced into a position of extreme extension and internal rotation, which stresses the anterior part of the joint capsule. The text compares the shoulder to a door being forced to open in an inadequate direction, potentially loosening the hinges. This extreme position can compress delicate structures and cause chronic inflammation, especially in the anterior portion of the shoulder. For those who already have some degree of joint instability, this exercise can significantly aggravate the problem. The elbows also suffer from intense shearing forces during dips. The elbow joint was not designed to support such high loads at this specific angle, especially when the movement is performed with full amplitude. This overload can lead to persistent tendonitis and other overuse injuries. As the exercise requires considerable strength, many people compensate with inadequate movements, amplifying the risks. It's common to observe practitioners who project their shoulders forward, excessively arch their backs, or limit the range of motion, compromising both the effectiveness and safety of the exercise. Let's learn about a much safer and effective alternative. Substitute exercise, high pulley cable crossover. The high pulley cable crossover is a superior alternative to dips, especially when we consider joint safety and efficient activation of the lower portion of the chest. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to precisely isolate the lower portion of the chest, the same area targeted by dips, without subjecting the shoulders and elbows to extreme stress. The downward movement of the high pulley cable crossover follows the natural path of the muscle fibers of the lower chest. providing a more specific and efficient contraction. The shoulder joint remains in a much safer position throughout the movement. Instead of the extreme extension and forced internal rotation of dips, the crossover allows the shoulder to move in a controlled and natural trajectory. This drastically reduces the risk of impact and compression of sensitive structures. An additional benefit is the constant tension provided by the pulley system. Unlike dips, where resistance varies drastically throughout the movement, the crossover maintains consistent tension throughout the entire range. This means more efficient and constant muscle stimulation. The ease of adjusting the load is another significant advantage. With dips, you're limited to your body weight or assistance machines that don't always offer adequate increments. With the crossover, you can precisely adjust the resistance to meet your individual needs and progress in a gradual and consistent manner. To maximize results, focus on contracting the lower portion of the chest. A common mistake is using the latissimus dorsi and biceps muscles to pull the weight, reducing the stimulus on the chest. Maintain a slight flexion in the elbows throughout the movement, and concentrate on hugging an imaginary object in front of your body. A valuable tip is to occasionally vary the angle of the movement. By positioning yourself a little more forward or backward, you can emphasize different parts of the lower portion of the chest, providing more complete and balanced development. Remember to control the return to the starting position. Many practitioners allow the weights to escape quickly, losing the eccentric component of the movement, which is crucial for hypertrophy. Control the return phase to maximize muscle stimulation. Now that you already know the 4 exercises you should replace, let's go to an important bonus. Bonus exercise: plate press. This exercise gained popularity on social media in recent years, often presented as an innovative way to work the chest. However, it is criticized mainly for its low effectiveness. The plate press doesn't generate force in the direction of the chest muscle fibers, creating a perpendicular force that results in inefficient activation. In simple terms, the exercise fails to align with the natural biomechanical function of the pectoral muscle. The burn felt during the exercise is more isometric fatigue than real stimulus for muscle growth. This sensation can be deceptive, leading many practitioners to believe they are getting an effective workout when, in reality, they are just fatiguing the muscle without providing the adequate stimulus for hypertrophy. Besides inefficiency, the position can create stress in the shoulder joint. The effort to keep the plates pressed against each other puts the shoulders in a position of prolonged internal rotation, potentially stressful for the anterior joint capsule and surrounding tendons. In summary, you're just wasting time and glycogen with something that gives no results whatsoever. Each repetition of this exercise represents a lost opportunity to perform a truly effective movement for chest development. Thank God it's less common to see this in gyms nowadays, but unfortunately, there's always someone doing it. You've probably observed that guy at the gym, sweating profusely while pressing 2 plates together, convinced he's performing the revolutionary exercise that will transform his chest. The reality, as we've seen, is quite different. If you liked this and also want to discover the 8 mistakes most men make without knowing in their chest workout, and that unfortunately prevent them from having a respectable chest, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing it. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.